Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss about the photoelectric effect experiment on virtual lab. So this is the link provided to do this virtual lab experiment, and we will go to the aim of this experiment. So the aim of this experiment is to plot a graph connecting stopping potential of photoelectrons as a function of frequency of incident radiation and determine the work function of photometal. The second one is to plot a graph connecting photocurrent and applied reverse potential. So these are the two aims of this experiment, and the apparatus using in this experiment: phototube, power supply, ammeter, voltmeter and light source. So before going to do this experiment, first of all we will see that what is photoelectric effect. So the photoelectric effect is nothing but when an electromagnetic radiation is incident on the metal surface, the electrons are released from the metal surface. So this phenomenon is called the photoelectric effect, and the emitted electrons are called the photoelectrons, and the minimum energy required to release the electrons from the metal surface is called the work function. Well, so in this experiment we are using phototube. So this is the block diagram of the phototube. So this phototube is consisting of semi-cylindrical metal surface which is acting as a cathode, and a rectangular wire is there that is acting as an anode. So when electromagnetic radiation which consisting of photons is incident on the semi-cylindrical metal surface, the electrons are released from that metal surface. They are collected by this anode. If this anode is connected to the battery positive terminal and this cathode is connected to the battery negative terminal, then these collected electrons, they will be attracted towards the battery positive terminal, and that constitute the current. So in that way the photocurrent is passes through this phototube when the light is incident on the semi-cylindrical metal surface. And in this case the phototube is having two biasing ways. So the biasing is nothing but we can apply the potential to the phototube in two ways. One is positive potential is applied and another one is negative potential is applied. So this is the case for applying positive potential, that is circuit diagram, and this is for applying negative potential to the phototube. So in positive potential case, the cathode is connected to battery negative terminal and anode is connected to battery positive terminal. Even the applied potential is zero, you will find some current at particular incident intensity on the cathode. With increasing of applied positive potential, the releasing of electrons is initially it is increases and that will be stabilized. Depending on that electrons, the photocurrent is slightly increases initially, then it reaches to saturation value, and further increasing of applied potential, the current becomes constant. The same behavior is found when the incident intensity increases. So if you increase the intensity of incident radiation, that is equals to I2, then the photocurrent is jumps to some other value and the behavior is similar to that first case. So in the same way you will find in case of higher intensity of I3 also. This is in case of applied positive potential. If the applied potential is negative, in the sense the cathode is connected to battery positive terminal and anode is connected to battery negative terminal, then this will applies the reverse potential to the phototube. So in the presence of this reverse potential, with increasing of this reverse potential, the photocurrent is decreases irrespective of intensity of the incident light. And this photocurrent is zero at particular applied reverse potential. So at which applied reverse potential the photocurrent is zero, that potential is called the stopping potential. So the stopping potential is independent of intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. So whatever it may be the incident electromagnetic radiation, then the stopping potential is constant for particular metal surface. Then go to the photoelectric effect equation, and here this is the incident electromagnetic radiation energy, which is in the form of photons, and that incident electromagnetic energy will be given to the metal surface. Some part of the energy is used to release the electrons, that is called the work function, and the rest of the energy is given as kinetic energy to the electrons. By rearranging this equation, you will get this form, and kinetic energy is replaced by EV0, that is charge of electron into stopping potential. Then that equation will be changed into this form, and dividing this equation with E, then V0 is equals to H by E into nu minus W by E, and this equation is similar to a straight line equation, so in which the Y is replaced by V0 and X is replaced by nu and M is replaced by H by E, C is replaced by minus W by E. So that means if you draw a graph between frequency nu versus stopping potential V0, you get a straight line. The slope of that straight line is equals to H by E. So that graph you will see here. So the frequency of incident radiation is on x-axis and stopping potential is on y-axis. Then you get a straight line. That straight line is intersecting on x-axis at nu naught position. So this nu naught indicates the threshold frequency. This is the minimum frequency required to release the electrons from the metal surface. And if you extrapolate the straight line, and the intercept of this straight line on the y-axis will give the minus W by E. This is equal to C, constant. This is constant. And by finding the slope of this straight line, that is equated to H by E. So from that we can find the Planck's constant. The Planck's constant H is equals to charge of electron into slope of this straight line. So this is the formula to find the Planck's constant of and the work function W is equals to, we can write H nu naught. H is the Planck's constant and nu naught is the threshold frequency. So the Planck's constant is determined by using this formula, and nu naught is the threshold frequency, which we can get from this graph where we got the intercept of the straight line on the x-axis. So that position will indicate the nu naught, and by multiplying this Planck's constant with threshold frequency, you will get the work function of this photometal, which is expressed in terms of joules. Okay, and the circuit diagram here we are using here, it is reversely applied potential case we are studying, because the stopping potential value we are recording here, that's why it is taken in reverse applied potential. This is the circuit, and the tabular form to find the Planck's constant. So we have to select a material that is fixed, and the area of the material is also, area of the plate is also fixed, and the intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation is also fixed. Then you take the observation spot by selecting a various wavelengths. So you select some wavelength, and whenever you know the wavelength, we can convert into frequency also. So the frequency is equals to C by lambda, and here the lambda is in nanometers. You convert into meters by taking 1 nano is equals to 10 power minus 9, and the respective stopping potential is read in the virtual lab. So in that way, for various wavelengths you have to note down the stopping potential, and by converting this wavelength into frequency by using this formula, then you have to draw a graph between frequency versus stopping potential values. These are the stopping potentials on y-axis and frequency of incident radiation on x-axis. Then you will get a straight line. So the slope of the straight line is used to find the Planck's constant, and from that Planck's constant we can find the work function of the photometal. This is. And the second part of this experiment is to draw the reverse voltage versus current graph. So to measure the reverse voltage and current, we have to take this tabular form. So in this tabular form, we select a material. That material is fixed, and the area of the plate, it is also fixed, and wavelength is fixed. In the previous tabular form, we have selected the intensity is fixed, but here it is wavelength is fixed. Here the intensity is changes. For various intensities of incident electromagnetic radiation, we are going to find the voltage versus current readings. How the current is changing with respect to the voltage for various intensities of electromagnetic radiation. So then you have to draw the graph between retarding potential, because the applied potential is a reverse potential. That's why it is called as a retarding potential. And photocurrent is on y-axis for various intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. So this type of graph you will get. From this graph, where you got the photocurrent is 0, that is indicates a stopping potential. So this is fixed for particular photometal surface. This is the website to do virtual lab. In this virtual lab, you go to the Modern Physics virtual lab. So you have a photoelectric effect experiment here. Then you go to the photoelectric effect experiment, and the aim of the experiment is given, theory, and the important points on photoelectric effect also given. Procedure, you will find the procedure also, and self-evaluation, the pre-test is given, some basics of that photoelectric effect before going to do the experiment, and the simulator part. And so in this simulator part, you see this one, this is the photo tube, and there is a filter is there. So this filter is used to incident a monochromatic light on the photo tube. So that means to incident a monochromatic light, we are using these filters. And this is a power supply which shows the voltage also here, and ammeter to measure the current. This is a light source. First of all, you put on this power supply, then you will find the applied potential is 0, and it is showing some current, that is 3.86 microamps is the current showing in the ammeter. And in this portal, you see here the choose material. So various materials are given. You can select any one of the material, sodium, zinc, platinum. So these are the materials so given in this portal, and you select any one of the material. For example, I am selecting sodium material, and you select area of that plate. So that metal surface is a sodium metal surface, which is taken here semi-cylindrical surface. So from which the electrons are going to be released, and the area of that metal plate is 0.1 centimeter square. You can change this area of the plate by sliding this one like this, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 like that. So I am selecting the area of the plate is 0.1 centimeter square, and the intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. So we can vary the intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation also. First, initially I am selecting 5 watts per meter square. Or you can change 10, 15, 20 like that. So I am selecting 5 watts per meter square is the intensity of incident electromagnetic light. And this is the applied voltage. So here it is showing 0 volts, and the same 0 volts you will find in this voltmeter also. You can change the applied voltage in reverse direction, because the applied potential is a reverse potential here to find the stopping potential. So in steps of 0.1 we can increase the reverse potential like this. So this is to change the applied potential. And it is a wavelength. That wavelength, it is showing 100 nanometers. 100 nanometers is the incident electromagnetic wavelength. You can adjust this wavelength by using this slider. 114, 120, like that. You can change the incident electromagnetic wavelength. First, initially I am adjusting the wavelength of this incident electromagnetic radiation is some 120 nanometers. This is your first observation. Select 120 nanometers is the wavelength. Then for the wavelength of 120 nanometers incident electromagnetic radiation, then what is the stopping potential? So to find the stopping potential, you have to increase the potential in the reverse direction. That is, negative potential is increased. So whenever you increase the negative potential, you will find the photocurrent in the circuit will be decreases. Initially when it is 0 volts, the photocurrent it is showing 4.03. But with increasing of this negative potential, you will find that photocurrent is decreasing. You see this. So the voltage is increasing in the reverse direction, that is 0.7. Then photocurrent is decreasing 0.8, 3.63, 0.9, 3.58. So like that, with increasing of reverse potential, the photocurrent is decreasing. And you increase the potential until the photocurrent is 0. So whenever the photocurrent is 0, that is indicates the applied potential of that respective photocurrent is stopping potential. You see here. And it is decreasing, the photocurrent is decreasing, and at particular applied potential you will find the photocurrent is 0. So at which potential the photocurrent is 0, this potential is called the stopping potential. This is 8.10 is the reverse potential for which the photocurrent is 0, and this potential is called the stopping potential. So you note down this stopping potential for this particular wavelength. For 120 nanometers, the stopping potential equals to 8.10. 8.10. Then you change the wavelength. You keep the material is constant, area of the plate is constant, intensity of incident light is also constant, but you have to change the incident wavelength of incident light. So before going to change the wavelength of incident light, first you bring the applied potential to 0 potential, then you change the wavelength. You adjust it 140 nanometers. Now the incident wavelength of incident electromagnetic radiation is 140 nanometers. To this 140 nanometers, again you have to find the stopping potential. So it is showing that 3.29 microamps is the current flowing through the circuit when the incident electromagnetic radiation is having 140 nanometers. Then again you have to increase the potential in the reverse direction and note down the stopping potential. You see that photocurrent is decreasing with increasing of reverse potential. You see here. Then for particular reverse potential, you will find the photocurrent is 0. 0. The potential is 6.60 is the stopping potential for this 140 nanometers wavelength. Then you have to write the second observation, that is lambda 2 is equals to 140 nanometers. The stopping potential is equals to minus 6.60 volts. This is the another wavelength. And before going to change the next wavelength, then you go to 0 potential and then increase the wavelength 160 nanometers. 160 nanometers. Then this 160 nanometers also you have to find the stopping potential. Initially at 0 potential it is showing 2.74 microamps is the photocurrent. Then I am increasing the reverse potential, then photocurrent is decreasing and the photocurrent is 0 at particular potential. You see this 0. So this is indicates the stopping potential at 160 nanometers. So in that way, by increasing the wavelength, we can find the stopping potential. And after finding the stopping potential for various wavelengths, then we can. So this is the graph drawn for copper material with area of the plate is 0.1 centimeter square and intensity is equals to 5 watts per meter square. So these are the various wavelengths. so which are converted into frequencies. So they are giving 3 into 10 power 15 Hz, 2 into 10 power 15 Hz, 1.5 into 1.2 into, and their respective stopping potentials which are recorded in the virtual lab. And the graph is drawn here with frequencies on x-axis and stopping potential is on y-axis. So we got a straight line passing through that, and it is intersecting at x-axis at this position, and this intersecting position will indicate the threshold frequency. And we find the slope of this straight line. This is the slope. To find the slope, I have drawn a triangle and I have taken a projections on x-axis, on y-axis, y1, y2, x1, x2. Slope is equals to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, and that slope I have calculated, that is 4.2 into 10 power minus 15, and that slope is equated to h by e. Then we can write h is equals to e into slope. E is nothing but magnitude of charge, that is equals to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into that slope. Then after multiplying this equation, I got 6.7 into 10 power minus 34 joules second. Actually the Planck's constant value is 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joules second. So this is the value I got by drawing this graph between frequency and stopping potential. And from this Planck's constant, we can find the work function also. The work function W is equals to h nu naught. H is the Planck's constant which is calculated here, and it is multiplied by threshold frequency. This is the threshold frequency. Then after multiplying the threshold frequency, you will get the work function in joules. We can convert this joules into electron volts by dividing this equation with 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So in that way, we can find the work function and Planck's constant of a photometal. So this is to find the Planck's constant and work function of a photometal. In the second part of the experiment, so we are going to draw the graph between reverse potential versus photocurrent for various intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. So that means the intensity of electromagnetic radiation should be changed. But in the first case, we have fixed that intensity as 5 watts per meter square. But in the second case, we fix the wavelength. So that wavelength means first we keep the applied potential is 0 and the selected material and area of the plate is fixed. The intensity is changed. First I have selected 5 watts per meter square is the intensity. Then wavelength is fixed. The wavelength is, suppose I am fixing it 200 nanometers. The 200 nanometers is the wavelength is fixed. 200 nanometers is this wavelength. It is fixed. Then the intensity for why 5 watts per meter square. So I am going to note down the voltage versus current values. So at 0 volts we got 1.96. Then with increasing of reverse potential, then you note down the current values. So with increasing reverse potential, minus 0.2 volts, then what is the current? Minus 3, what is the current? Minus 4, what is the current? So like that, with increasing of voltage, you note down the current values in steps of 0.5 or 0.1. So like that, with increasing of voltage, you have to note down the current until the photocurrent is 0. You see this, the photocurrent becomes 0 with increasing of reverse potential. Then after getting a photocurrent is 0, then you note down the final potential as minus 4 volts is here. And you go to the 0 potential, then you change the intensity of incident radiation, that is 10 watts per meter square. But the wavelength of incident radiation is fixed. Again you do the same way. Change the applied potential and note down the photocurrent. For various applied potential, you note down the photocurrent values. This is for second intensity. And then go to the next one, that is change the intensity. Now change the applied intensity and you note down the photocurrent for various applied reverse potential like this. So in this way, for various intensity of electromagnetic radiation, you note down the photocurrent with respect to the reverse potential and you tabulate those values, and after that then so the graph will be in this form. So the reverse potential is on x-axis and photocurrent is on y-axis. So for various intensity of electromagnetic radiation. Okay. So from this graph you can find the stopping potential for that particular metal also. Thank you.